Hi there, welcome to today's video, and today, before I get stuck into the main line of topics that I'm going to be discussing with you, please consider going down to the link just below the screen over here and link through to my Patreon account and subscribe to me on Patreon. I'll be putting new and different content to what's coming up here on YouTube every day. Some more behind the scenes background type of content will be going onto my Patreon account, but consider going there and subscribing to my Patreon account simply because that is what keeps this channel, this dialogue, being able to continue. At the moment, the income that comes through in terms of AdSense is insufficient to be able to keep this channel alive. So without Patreon support from my loyal audience, this channel will slowly but surely dwindle out into nothing. And simply because when I started the channel out, I had 3 cameras at my disposal. 2 have died in the meantime. I'm down to the last one, and simply the channel isn't producing enough income to be able to go out and get a replacement camera when this last one eventually gives up the ghost. So that's the state of affairs as far as the channel is concerned. So please, if you're wanting to see more content coming out from me on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis, consider heading across to my Patreon account, as I said, link below, and subscribe to me there. Then let's get stuck into today's video. In today's video, what I'm looking at is fruit and sugar, and the belief that fruit makes you fat and sugar makes you fat. CoachEdu.net. Yes, excess calories from sugar, excess calories from fruit do get stored as fat, but in the human body, it's an incredibly inefficient conversion, which means that for every 100 calories of excess sugar over and above what your body needs on a day-to-day basis, for every 100 calories of excess sugar, you'll store 70 calories as fat, and the process of converting that sugar to fat will use up 30% of those calories, and that's only the calories, additional calories that the body is not able to burn off by making you fidgety and excited, and the elevated heart rates and metabolic rates and everything that kicks in when you consume additional sugars. When you consume additional starch, your energy levels go up. And the reason why your energy levels are going up, it's your body's way of burning off all of that excess fruit sugars. All of the excess fruit, all of the excess sugars, your body is trying to burn those off because your body doesn't want to store them as fat because it's an incredibly inefficient conversion rate. However, the fat you eat, on the other hand, the body is incredibly efficient at storing the fat you eat for later use, because the fat that you consume is in a carbon chain, and the exact arrangement of that carbon chain varies in terms of the types of fats, whether it's omega-3s, whether it's omega-6s, whether it is trans fats, whatever the case may be. So if you're looking at if you're taking in most of your fat in terms of things like olive oil, and you do a biopsy of your butt or a biopsy of your belly fat, and you send that off to the lab, guess what they'll find? They'll find exactly the same type of fat that you find in the olive oil, they'll find in your fatty tissue, because your body has just taken that olive oil fat and moved it straight across into storage. If you're trying to get as many of the healthy fats as possible by eating lots of oily fish like salmon, do a biopsy of your butt and belly fat, and you'll be able to see the exact same fat chain in your belly and in your butt as what you find in those oily fishes, because the fat gets transferred straight across into what you're storing without changing the carbon chain at all. And likewise, if you're your fat comes in terms of saturated fat from meat and dairy, guess what? Do a biopsy of your belly and butt fat, and it'll be the exact same fat chain sitting there. So, from what you can ascertain as far as, and this has been proven in the lab already, now and over again, and it's old science that's been where people have analyzed the food eaten and the fat stored, and there's a correlation between the two. So if you had to go to a laboratory and just get them to do a biopsy of your belly or butt fat and tell them to come back to you as far as what's the ratio of saturated fat, omega-3s, omega-6s, guess what? That ratio will match exactly to the fat that you've been eating. So the easy mantra to remember there is the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And when you combine fat intake with sugar and starch intake, the body grabs the sugar and starch for ready energy, and all of the fat gets stored for later use. So remember, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. Sugar can be converted into fat and stored as fat, but it is incredibly inefficient. The body rather burns it off, or if it has to convert it to fat, it has to use up 30% of the calories to be able to store that sugar as fat. Whereas when it comes to storing fat as fat, it's an incredibly efficient way of storing calories for later use, which is why the body only uses up 3% of the fat calories to be able to store fat, where it uses up 30% of the sugar calories to be able to convert sugar into fat. That's my take on the matter. That's the video for today. Remember to hit the thumbs up if you like this type of content. Post any comments, questions, criticisms in the space down below. And remember, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. And last but by no means least, remember, stay carved up for the win. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Go vegan!